The knock came just as the butter began to hiss in the pan. 3 sharp raps, controlled, official. I remember because the sound cut clean through the quiet of the morning. Through the smell of toasted bread and frying eggs. Through the ordinary little peace I had been pretending still existed. When I opened the door, the woman standing, there wore a dark coat and the kind of face that had delivered bad news too many times to still flinch from it. "Sir," she said, voice measured. "I'm Detective Sarah. Malik, I'm sorry to inform you that your wife was involved in a fatal shooting 2 hours ago." For a moment, I simply stared at her. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was impossible. "No," I said, stepping aside and pointing toward the back of the house. "She's in the garage fixing her car." For the first time, the detective's expression cracked. Confusion. A flicker of suspicion. Then training took over. "Show me." I led her through the hallway. Past the framed photographs that still lied for us. Anniversaries, beach vacations, fake smiles over candlelit dinners. Evidence of a marriage that had died long before anyone had the courtesy to bury it. As we approached the garage, I could hear the metallic clink of tools. She was there. Nadia, bent over the open hood of her silver sedan, a wrench in one hand, grease on her fingers, hair tied back in the same loose knot I used to unravel with tenderness. The detective drew her weapon. "Sir," she said quietly, "step behind me." Nadia turned, and in that instant, every thread of the last 6 months tightened into one perfect knot. This was the moment I had built. But to understand why, you have to understand who Nadia was, or rather, who I thought she was. I met her 9 years ago in a bookstore cafe downtown. She was reading a crime novel and marking the margins with a pencil, as if she were correcting the author's mistakes. I liked that about her immediately. She was sharp, precise, the kind of woman who noticed details other people missed. We built a life out of routines and ambition. A clean house, good careers, shared bank accounts, quiet dinners, weekend drives. For years I mistook structure for love. Then the changes started. Late nights at work, a new password on her phone, perfume that wasn't hers lingering on her coat. She stopped looking at me when she spoke. The worst betrayals don't arrive like explosions. They seep in through cracks. A message on her laptop confirmed what instinct had already whispered. "Miss you already." Last night was worth the risk. No name, no signature, just enough. I didn't confront her. That was the first thing she underestimated. She expected anger. Instead, I gave her silence. I watched, tracked her routines, learned the man's name, Farhan, a financial consultant with expensive suits and the kind of smile built entirely from confidence in lies. But the affair wasn't the real betrayal. That came later. I discovered Nadia had taken out a life insurance policy in my name 3 months earlier. A large one. The beneficiary was her. And then I found the messages. Not romantic this time. Operational. It has to look random. A robbery. Somewhere public. That was the night something inside me went cold. Love didn't die. It calcified into strategy. I contacted a private investigator first, then a lawyer, then quietly the police. Detective Malik had been working the case with me for weeks. Because Nadia and Farhan had already tried once. A staged mugging outside my office parking garage. I survived because I left early that day. The wrong man died instead. A stranger. An innocent man wearing a coat identical to mine. The fatal shooting the detective mentioned this morning wasn't my wife. It was Farhan, shot dead in what appeared to be a deal gone wrong. Except it wasn't. He had turned on Nadia when he realized she was planning to eliminate him too. Greed makes cowards paranoid. He fired first. She fled. And now she was here, acting out the role of innocent wife fixing her car before breakfast. When Nadia saw Detective Malik, the color drained from her face. Then she looked at me. And in her eyes, I saw the exact second she understood. I knew. I had always known. "You," she whispered. I said nothing. The detective moved forward. Nadia Rahman, put the wrench down and step away from the vehicle. Her gaze stayed locked on mine. "You set this up." Not anger. Not even fear. Recognition. Respect, almost. I stepped into view. "No," I said calmly. "You set it up? I just made sure the right people were watching." The detectives' team entered through the side door, weapons drawn. Nadia slowly lowered the wrench. Her shoulders stiffened as the cuffs clicked around her wrists. Then came the final turn. Detective Malik opened the trunk of Nadia's car. Inside was the pistol, registered to Farhan, and beside it, a folder. My insurance documents, updated again yesterday. Her hands trembled for the first time. You searched my car? I looked at her, really looked at her. At the woman I once trusted with every fragile part of me. No, I said. You left it there because you thought you'd need it after I was gone. That was the moment the mask broke. Her face twisted. You were supposed to die. The words landed in the room like shattered glass. Even the detective went still. I felt nothing. No rage. No heartbreak. Only the deep, steady satisfaction of inevitability. Because revenge, I learned, is not fury. It is patience. It is allowing people to become exactly what they are, then handing them the rope they insist on pulling. As they led her away, Nadia turned back once. You never loved me. I met her stare. I did, I said. That's why this hurts. The door closed behind them. Silence returned to the house. The eggs were burned black in the pan. Smoke curled toward the ceiling. I turned off the stove and opened the kitchen window. Fresh morning air flooded in. For the first time in months, I could breathe. People think revenge feels like triumph. It doesn't. It feels like release, like finally setting down a weight you were forced to carry. She had written my ending. All I did was revise the final chapter and make sure I was the one left standing when the last page turned.